Hi, I'm Mike Peterson, and you're watching a podcast where nostalgia comes alive. It's Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Roll it!
Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Join Jake and his friends on a journey through pop culture of the past, where they interview professionals in the worlds of acting, directing, writing, puppeteering, and so much more. Who will they be chatting with today? Find out in this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Nostalgia comes alive. Happy here with us. Thank you for joining. As always, I'm your host, Jake. Talking about with me today, as always, our co-host, Chris Bixby and Matt Bingo. How you guys doing?
Hey everyone, we're doing good.
Hey, how you doing, folks? Doing great. Jake, how you doing?
Doing great as always, Matt. Thank you for asking.
Yes, we had a wonderful interview for you folks. Jake, let's not waste any more time. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about who we spoke with?
Yes, thank you, Chris. Today's guest we have in this episode is the great Matt Ficner. He's a Canadian puppeteer and actor. We'll discuss his career throughout this chat, including his involvement in some series, including the Noddy Shop. Additionally to the series, also got to co-create the puppets and Caillou and so much more. So let's not waste any more time. Enjoy our chat with Matt Ficner. See you then.
Here he is.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, the podcast where nostalgia comes alive. Today we have with us is the great Matt Ficner. Welcome, Matt. Happy to have you here.
Hi, guys. Thanks for the invite. It's nice to be here.
Delighted to have you here.
Absolutely. Great to have you here, Matt. We much appreciate it. So to kick things off, we know who you are, but for those who don't, could you tell our audience a bit about yourselves and what you do?
Sure. Well, I call myself an unusualist because I do a lot of unusual things, but I've been a puppet builder, a puppeteer, an illustrator, an animator, a voice actor, and done a lot of stuff for a lot of different projects over the years, and as well as a director and producer of some of my own materials. So kind of wear many hats, so to speak. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So now, before kind of getting into puppetry and things like that, what was your childhood like and how did you grow up?
Oh wow. Well, I'd say my childhood was really quite exceptional. I was very fortunate. I had parents who kind of embraced all the weird, fun things I was interested in and encouraged me to sort of follow my interests and follow what made me kind of tick, so to speak. My mom very much was always trying to help facilitate if I wanted to draw or paint or do anything creative. She would always make sure, oh, well, make sure we got paints and supplies and those kinds of things. And my dad was always very supportive of, oh, he's doing another weird thing. That's great. Off he goes. So, yeah, I've been very fortunate that, I had a lot of opportunities to kind of explore and try new things.
Nice.
That's terrific. So did you always want to pursue puppetry as a career?
Not necessarily. I always knew I wanted to do something creative. But going through the ranks of school and high school, I was interested in science and robotics, but it was just sort of a weird sort of turn of events and being introduced to different people, wherein I kind of stumbled into puppetry, which really kind of encapsulated all the things I really enjoyed. It was the designing and building of things that moved and functioned. It was also the performance aspect of things, getting to make silly voices, and so it kind of filled a lot of my creative itches, so to speak. So that's kind of where that sort of happened.
Nice.
Hmm.
Nice. So, do you remember your first exposure to puppetry?
Well, honestly though, my first toy was a hand puppet. So I always just had puppets in sort of that tickle trunk of stuff to play with. We had costumes and Lego and all that kind of stuff, and puppets were just all
Yeah.
just part of the mix. So that was just something that was always there for me.
Nice.
Awesome.
Interesting. Interesting. So, what was your first job in the puppet world? Not so professionally, but kind of paid, I guess.
Oh, well, so uh, to sort of lead into that, the answer to that question, when Jim Henson had passed away, I was in high school, and that was a little bit of a sort of poke at me, kind of going, "Oh man, this guy, I always wanted to meet him. I always thought he was interesting," and that really kind of fueled it. I want to do a puppet show. I want to do my own thing. So I put together, a couple of theater performances and toured it with a couple of the grade schools, that were feeder schools for the high school. Um, and through doing that, I ended up connecting with Noreen Young,
Hmm.
who was the producer of Under the Umbrella Tree.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah, great show.
so I was like, "Hey, I'm doing a puppet show. Come check it out. I'd love for you to come by." And it that eventually worked out to me going out to her studio out in Almont, Ontario, and getting a job as a studio assistant with her. So that's sort of how that kind of came to be.
Nice.
That's great. So now, one of the series you worked on was the Noddy Shop, where you got to co-create the puppets. So how did that job come about?
I was working sort of as a studio assistant, and I was learning stuff in Noreen Young's production studio building, and then we would be filming some small projects. And then there was basically a call out to puppeteers and puppet builders that the show was in the process of being produced. And so I said, "Oh, I submitted my resume and like, here's some puppets I built." Um, and of course, Noreen had done that with her company as well. And it just so happened that the producer, so Rick Siglico, the producer of the show, was like, "Oh, well,
Yeah, such a
like
great
your
guy.
yeah, we like your stuff." And oh, well, we see Noreen's here. It's like, "So what, you work with Noreen?" I said, "Well, yeah, I'm kind of here." So, oh, great. So that's sort of how that kind of those pieces just sort of fell together. And so I got to work designing and building the puppets with Noreen. And I did my own versions of things, and Noreen did her stuff, and we collaborated on a lot of the designs and the characters. And then when they went to into production, I moved down to Toronto and performed a bunch of the characters that we had built. So,
Nice.
Hmm.
Nice. And that's actually a perfect segue. So you got to perform several characters on the show. Can you kind of talk about that aspect and some of the characters you got to perform on the show?
oh yeah, well, I got to perform the there's the crybabies that were
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
the babies in
Okay.
the bed. I got to do my Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonation for Lichtenstein, and then of course I got yeah, and then of course then I got to play one of my favorite characters, Rusty, the little tin clown. So he was a lot of fun too.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then a variety of other guest characters that came in and out of the show too. I got to play, and and myself and Frank Meshkalite, Jim Rankin, all us puppeteers on the show. We got to kind of tag team on some characters and whatnot. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's great. Now, I'm kind of curious. I know I'm kind of might be a difficult answer from Alexis, but like, do you have like any like favorite Night Shop episodes or songs?
My gosh, the as far as the songs. I tend not to think about them, but if I hear them on replays, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I remember every single lyric, every single thing." Um, there was one of the songs that I really had fun with because I got to perform the lead puppet in it was the "Tell the Time" song with Gator Gertie, the
Okay,
cookie jar thing,
Mhm.
because I got to really jazz it up.
right.
But my favorite episode And tell the story for a bit, was our Christmas episode, because I got to
Yeah, Betty
hang
White.
out with Betty
Yeah,
White,
yeah.
Betty
Uh-huh.
White, yeah.
and she's a saucy lady
Yes.
behind the
Hmm.
scenes, but she was wonderful, and we had a lot of good laughs, and she was a great person. So to me, we had some other great guest stars.
Yeah, Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah, we had a bunch of really good ones, but just my interaction with her was just that extra special to me. So that's something I always hold dear as a memory from that show. Yeah.
Yeah, and on the subject of songs, we also got to previously chat with Dennis Scott, who did
Oh
a lot of the
yes.
songs
Yeah,
for the
I love
show.
Dennis too. Yeah,
Love
Yeah.
Dennis.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Great
wonderful
guy.
indeed.
Terrific guy.
Yeah, I love the What If world.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Oh
I mean,
yeah.
it's a while ago, so it's no
Yeah.
worse at all.
There was
But
like a parade episode, and there was a song in there that I remember a little bit. Yeah.
oh
Oh
yeah.
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 And I think one of the many things I enjoyed about working on that show, so as the puppeteers, we're kind of sitting on standby for a lot of the time during the day, waiting to do our scenes. But because I was also sort of on set wrangler and builder, I was building the props and all the things for each episode. So like the I think it was the parade episode or something. We had a big car wash that the characters all went through or something like that. So I remember building that stuff in the background and waiting for them to call us to set. So I had a lot of fun just making wacky, fun, amazing props on that show too. So
Nice.
Yeah, and there's like some episodes that involve some like magic, and then one about a birthday party.
oh
Yeah,
yes,
there's so
yeah,
many great ones.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was a lot of fun, and it was also for myself too. It was a great learning experience watching, these great directors and performers doing their mastering their craft and showing, doing all kinds of amazing things. Like Wayne Moss, who is a director who I absolutely admire, and I try to emulate his directing styles when I get a chance to direct myself and stuff like that. So just
That's
a lot of,
awesome.
lot of fun memories from that show for sure. Yeah.
That's great.
That's terrific. So another series you puppeteered on was the Henson series, Brats of the Lost Nebula.
Oh
Do you
yes.
kind of talk a bit about the show itself and what was it like working on it?
Well, that was a really, really interesting experience. And I have a lot of great memories from that. I got to work directly with like Bill Beretta and John Kennedy.
Oh
Ah,
yeah,
Bill,
great
John,
guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
great guys,
Biggest,
yeah,
biggest
I
of
got
ours.
to work with
yeah.
them, and they, just fantastic, fantastic performers. And I really I learned a lot from them, and I was very lucky to befriend them, and working on that show, very technical puppets, so like a lot of gimbals and controls and stuff like that. So my gaming thumbs and fingers came in real handy on that one, and so learning a lot of those kinds of things was really neat. It was a very technically heavy show with the styles of puppets and the way we shot it. That was neat. And so I and but yeah, it was tough though too, because we were in the trenches, and it was a hot summer, and we were working in an old abandoned battery factory. So like you had all kinds of weird chemical smells going on and stuff like that. Like it was quite a thing. But you know, uh, I look at that as a lot of interesting positives came out of that experience for me. So it's unfortunate that that show kind of got buried and tucked away in the ether of things, but it was a lot of fun. And Dan Clark, who was also the director producer on that as well, he's gone on to do some other weird, wacky, fun puppet stuff as well. So yeah, so it was a really interesting and fun time for sure.
Nice. Nice. So you also performed the puppet version of Teddy and Caillou. What was it like working on that show?
That show, I honestly have to say, was the most laid back and enjoyable of experiences for me as a performer because that's all I had to focus on was just perform. I didn't have to worry about wrangling the puppets or keeping anything together or working on the sets. I just got to perform, and it was fun. I mean, they even named the character after me, in the show, which I thought was hysterical. Instead of just Teddy, it was Matthew Theodore Bear, and it's kind of um, a fun little thing there. But yeah, I really enjoyed performing Teddy. It was a lot of fun to do, and I would jump at the chance again. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, it was a
That's
great deal
great.
of fun. But yeah, so yeah, Caillou was it was a lot of fun, and I got to work with again Bob Stutt, who's one of my favorite puppeteers, and Pierre
Yeah.
Pierre Paquette and Tim Gosley. Like we had
Oh
fun.
yeah,
Yeah, I
Tim.
loved
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
Yeah, it's great
yeah.
too.
We had fun on that show. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's great. I love how like the franchise, how it was started off. They want to have like have some of the puppetry addition to the show, which that was so cool to see.
Yeah, it was really sort of a fun extension to kind of bookend the animation episodes and
Right.
whatnot. And but yeah, it was one of those things too they had done, and then it kind of disappeared into the odd world of, some people might have seen it, some people might not have seen it.
Right. Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
for me, I always considered myself like a puppeteer, someone who works in the industry who's always I'm kind of just on the outside all the time, just on the fringes, just seeing what's
Yeah.
going on over there. And every so often I get to be involved with a few cool things. So, but yeah, I mean, it's really quite, if you were to tell me, growing up that this is where I would end up and these are the things I would be doing, I go, yeah, right. But here I
Right.
am. Here I am. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, great show. So now you're also puppeteer on Planet Bizarro,
Oh
the world
yeah.
according to Zoomer. What was that like?
That was a really, really interesting and amazing adventure as well. So I connected with my friend Brian Zimmerman in Kuala Lumpur. And we had a lot of just emails back and forth, back and forth. He saw my stuff and he really liked it. So I ended up building him a bunch of puppets, plus packing up a bunch of my own characters and shipping them off to Kuala Lumpur, and spent a good, oh, can't remember how many weeks I was there, but it was a lot of fun. Again, um, just great people, and the fact that hey, making weird, funny dolls and creatures took me to the other side of the planet to do stuff that was really cool. And again, it was just a little independent production that there's a lot of fun, goofy episodes that we got to do. And again, I've made lifelong friends there. So Brian Zimmerman's a friend of mine, but Heath Ledger was the other puppeteer. And Heath,
Benjamin, I feel like I
you
know
might
that
you
name.
might know Heath. He does a Randy Felt face now.
Oh
Oh yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Right.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, yes, Brian's been around. He's done a lot of stuff. He's done a lot of cartoon and voice work as well.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
Now I know
and
what you're talking
he
about.
yeah, he recently went back to Singapore, and he's working at Universal Studios over there. So he's actually
Oh wow.
uh doing things like he's voicing Megatron in the parks and doing a lot of the fun stuff there as well. So
Nice.
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah.
Nice.
That's really cool. So, what was it like working and puppeteering on the CBB series Ace Lightning?
Oh wow. Now Ace Lightning, so again, so Rick Sigel co-produced that.
Yeah.
And that was so I helped with Rick. I worked with Rick to design all these new video game characters that were coming to life. So I got the chance to really do some creative design work and design all these cool, weird, strange, creaturey animal things. And then I worked on set primarily as voice and guide track for a lot of stuff. And it wasn't exactly mocap, but I would be there acting out the scenes, for the CG animated characters that were put into the show. And then some of the characters were actually puppets as well, so I did get to puppeteer them and voice them on the show. So,
Nice.
and it was,
Nice.
yeah, that was another really, again, bizarre and strange and unusual unusual job.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So you were also a puppeteer on the CBC and Discovery Kids series Wilbur. What
Yeah.
was that like?
Oh, Wilbur was a lot of fun. Wilbur was no, that was talk about teamwork that we needed on that show. So that show, there were, I think, 3 to 4 puppeteers per character. We
Hmm.
were all in blue spandex suits working on a blue chroma key screen. So, we got to know our fellow puppeteers up close and personal, you know, puppeteering these characters. And again, what has been interesting for me is like both with like Ace Lightning and then with Wilbur, these were shows that were using new technology that most of it now is commonplace in film and TV production. But back then, it was all learning and testing all these new different technologies. Like again, going back to Ace, with a CG character interacting with a live person on set is very commonplace nowadays. But back then, it really wasn't done that often. Doing those kinds of shows back then with the technology sort of just at its beginning stages, whereas now so much of that stuff is fairly common practice in sci-fi and special effects production. So
Nice.
Awesome. So now you're also a puppeteer on series such as Spell Furry, Winging It, and Book a Boo. Now, what were those like?
oh, so Winging It was really an interesting little gig. Uh, I initially was hired just to build this raccoon puppet that was going to be just a sight gag that this thing would pop up and attack the lead actors in the show as a little gag that this raccoon would constantly show up. But they ended up turning this raccoon into an angel's minion and had this little speaking role. So I ended up getting to puppeteer this raccoon that I built for the show. And again, it was just another one of those opportunities to, you know, play an interesting, fun character and be bouncing off of some great actors and some great performers, and getting to do all kinds of just goofy, fun puppet stuff. So,
Nice.
That's great.
That's awesome. So, moving on from your television puppetry, you've also puppeteered in a number of films, including the television movie The Creepy Puppet Project. Do you kind of talk about your work with that?
oh, excuse me. Yeah. So the Creepy Puppet Project was something I started up. Again, YouTube was very young at the time when I started it. And yeah, I just started doing little horror movies and monster movies with puppet characters. And it is everything from some, 5 to 10 minute short films to, to some little short sketches, to music videos and stuff. And some of them ended up at the time going viral. Wasn't a thing, but that's what happened. Some of them got picked up and they were on featured on shows like Attack of the Show and a few other things like that. So I did some zombie music videos and they all got picked up and they still circulate around there nowadays. So that was me just more having fun in my basement studio, putting weird, gross, slimy monsters and creatures together and
Right.
having fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ended up just getting busy with other projects and other paying work, and so that kind of slipped off to the side. But that did lead to a lot of other interesting things. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. So you also puppeteered on the 2007 film Mr. Mcgorium's Wonder Emporium. What was that experience like?
Mr. Mcgorium's Wonder Emporium. That was an experience I really got to kind of geek out on. I came in as a puppeteer to work a few days on that show, but I got to geek out because I'm a big Star Wars geek, and Natalie Portman was one of the main actors on that. So I was like, "Oh, this is Princess Amidala's here. I gotta put on a puppet now." Ha ha ha. So that was that was fun, and I got to sort of again sort of observe and take in, like the size of the sets that they built on that were unbelievable and like huge. A lot of the stuff that we get to see working on productions doesn't always make it to camera. So I don't think they ever managed to capture in camera just the scope of how big that toy shop set was and all the cool things they had and all the different nooks and crannies. But again, yeah, it's like if you told me, a year or two beforehand, hey, you're going to be doing this, I was like, yeah, whatever. But it's like, there I was. I got my Star Wars geek out on. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's great. So now, since we're getting close to wrap things up, can you share any projects that you're currently working on, at least that you're allowed to talk about?
Oh, yes, certainly. So, a couple of years ago, I created and produced my own TV series called Fernsbys Cryptid Critter Control, and some of the characters are here in the background. And
Oh.
for that, I built a whole bunch of monsters,
Okay.
creatures, goblins, characters. And the idea kind of is it's sort of like Ghostbusters meets Scooby-Doo,
Oh.
but with cryptozoology involved. So these characters go out and they hunt Bigfoot and the chupacabra and things of that nature. So it was also an homage to a lot of the, 70s, 80s, and 90s horror movies and creature movies and stuff that we grew up. So there's all kinds of, movie quotes and references in the episodes. And I'm busy working right now, trying to get that out there so people can see it. So can't say too much, but I'm working on it so everyone can hopefully eventually see it. Plus, I'm also working on being able to make some more of that stuff to get it out there to people. So that's coming along. And but then the other thing I am working on is I've teamed up with a local toy company here in my hometown, and we've been developing toy products, books, activities, and I'm also going to be launching a new YouTube channel with them, and we're calling it UFOs, which is unusual, fun, odd stuff.
Oh,
And it's
nice. I like
Nice.
that. Yeah.
Nice. I like
and it's
that.
Yeah.
it really is. It's me working in my studio, making things, showing you the process of, when I'm designing a robot or building a spaceship or putting an alien together or putting a monster together. Here are the processes I use with sort of the professional materials I have. But I'm also going to be showing, here are some things you can go to the dollar store and get, or go to a recycling bin and just pull things out and put these things together and make something that looks as professional, and sort of sharing a lot of my techniques and skills, showing you how to, apply paints in certain ways so it looks like rusty metal or it looks like stone, or here's ways you can make slime that actually, isn't going to stain your carpet or whatever. So things like that. And then also I'll be developing some toy products and I'm going to be showing the audience, here's how that worked. So for example, okay, we're going to design some ugly, stuffy monsters, So here's all my sketches, and here's, how we work with that, and then here's what the prototypes look like, and what are the limitations of the materials, what can we do, and then eventually our audience will be able to go to our website and buy those products and order those things. So there's a few things coming out probably in the next 2, 3 weeks of some of our first products that we'll be starting to promote. And then we'll be
Nice.
launching our actual YouTube channel with a few of our episodes, most likely early in the new year. But so keep an eye out on that for UFOs.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to
Awesome.
what's coming up later on more projects for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Down the road.
excited about it.
Yeah. So Matt, take us home with the last question.
Thanks, Chris. If you didn't catch it in the first part of the program, this podcast is called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. When you think of nostalgia, what do you think of? Or in your own words, how do you define the word nostalgia?
Ooh. I as anything that continues to inspire childhood imagination and joy and enthusiasm. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be something that is old in and of itself, but something that provides me with a feeling of like, getting that kid-like excitement for something, I think is very much a part of what nostalgia means to me, is remembering those inspirational moments as a kid. So
Nice. Great words then, Dylan.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. This is a blast.
Oh, thank you guys, and happy to
course.
chat. And yeah, if ever you want to touch base again when I got more weird stuff that's actually floating around online again, I'm more than happy to chat again.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course. And thank you so
Awesome.
much
Have you back.
again. Thank you so much
Absolutely.
again for coming on. I'm looking forward to what's coming up next tour, and keep up what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, Matt. This was fun.
Thanks,
I'll let
guys.
you know when this goes up.
Yeah, we'll do. Cheers.
Cheers
See ya.
to
You
you.
too. And thanks again, Matt. Take care. Bye.
It's goodbye from us as well. We absolutely enjoyed our time with the wonderful Matt Ficner. Links to his website and social media will be in the description down below for anyone who wants to connect with him or check out his work. It's goodbye from us as well. Keep on the lookout for more wonderful interviews coming your way. Jake, take us home, my friend. What do we say?
Yeah. Keep nostalgia alive. Take care, everyone. See you next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode. Be sure to follow Jake and the Happy Nostalgia team on social media, check out our website, and stream the show wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And as always, remember to keep nostalgia alive. Bye-bye.